Hey guys, it's Paul Jang, and I'm gonna be talking about is land investing competitive? Generally, I would say no, especially in considering other types of real estate investing ventures. Um, and I'll tell you why. So, land in general is cheaper in the U.S. than it is for houses. That is not the case for other places in the world. But in the United States, land is generally cheaper than construction or houses. And for most parcels of land, for it to economically work out, they have to be, you know, most a couple $10,000. Once things go over 100,000, it doesn't really make sense to build on it. Unless it's prime real estate and you're doing apartments of some sort. And so the whole market for land isn't really being reached by one of the biggest people, realtors, right? Realtors are ones that are actively going for listings to market it on Realtor and Zillow so that they can get a commission. The multiple listing service is used by most realtors to negotiate deals uh, within one another and to basically bring sellers and buyers together, and they get cuts for that. The thing with land is because it's a lot less money involved. The percentages are a lot less than houses. 3% from a $200,000 home is a significant amount of money, but when you're talking about 3% for lands that's worth 10,000 or 20,000, it's a substantially smaller amount. And so uh, it's, you could think of like the land investing in terms of getting listings or purchases, but most realtors they'll take a land listing but not work as hard for it. They might charge between 6 to 10%. I found for commissions, so a higher amount to kind of offset it. But even then, it's not as much money for them, so it doesn't really make sense for them to pursue it. The other you know group, and I think this is what most people are thinking with, is land investing too competitive, is other land investors. um Here's the thing. So if you ever see the billboards for we buy houses, if you could just kind of think, there's actually more land than there is houses. It's kind of unbelievable to think about, but it's true. There's more land in the United States than are actual houses. And with land, you can do just as many things as you can do with houses, right? With houses, you can do fix and flips. You can just buy it and resell it either to a wholesaler or a rehabber of some sort or into the retail market. You could do Airbnbs, rentals, all these things. In land, um, there's just as much opportunity. It's just not as well known. That means that there's less competition. So with land, you could resell it to a wholesaler, or retail all the things like in houses. You could do owner financing, right? That's typically how people get recurring income through land. Owner financing, you can lease it like hunting land or farming land or agricultural land. um, you can subdivide properties, which is something you can't really do with houses. You can actually develop on the land and increase the value. That's kind of similar to rehabbing. But when you think about real estate investing in general, most people like gravitate towards the houses, and some people might gravitate towards apartments or note investing. Some of these other opportunities, tax deeds or tax liens, right? I would say real estate investing is predominantly when you talk about it, it's about houses, and then within it, there's different niches that you could kind of go into. And when you consider the big housing market, competition there, and people still doing really well with it, land investing is substantially a lot less competitive. Um, than with you know houses or even really apartments, right? Like you have literally commercial brokers like looking for larger transactions, right? Like with these commercial deals. It's not the case for land investing. There aren't as many land investors than there are rehabbers, flippers, wholesalers for houses. And so the the opportunities here are pretty big. You could do really well with it. I would say like land investing, for myself, it is how my wife and I were able to quit our jobs and be able to do other things in our lives. And so like I highly recommend it. The entry rate is much less than I think in some of the other fields. Um, and it's just a lot less competitive, so you could get something going. I think it's ideal predominantly for people that either have a W 2 job and you're looking for a side hustle that doesn't take a lot of time, because with housing, um, it's hard to really tell the condition of the property unless you go see it. With land, that's not really the case. You could kind of see it in Google Maps and see if it has access or not, right? Like it just kind of like you could see on Google Maps if there's a forest on it or not, right? And the values don't drastically, change based on that, where it does with houses. If a house has like real plumbing issues, that significantly lowers the value of a home. So it's a lot less time intensive. It's a lot less competitive. The dollar starting amount is a lot less. When I look at note investing or apartment investing or even tax deeds, you could get good deals in all avenues of real estate. But like in land, I started in land investing with buying a couple $100 lots, right? And then flipping that and then getting into bigger ones. And so you have a wide spectrum of entry points for people that could go in the hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Like where you're buying 200 acres and splitting them up into 10 acres. There's a lot of what I think are entry points for people wherever they're starting. I would say if you have a job, um, the best bang for your buck is kind of in that like 1,000, 2,000 range, and then selling it for 5, 6, 7,000. I think that's kind of a good range because that's enough money where it's going to start, if you start doing a couple of those deals, it'll start snowballing into something. But then the lower into the hundreds is really good proof of concept, right? That it's much more difficult to do with like rehabbing if you're gonna borrow or put up $100,000 for a fix and flip, right? Or most hard money lenders require a much larger amount. So land investing, I would say, is significantly less competitive than some of the other real estate investing strategies out there. So that's just something to consider. If you are interested in land investing, there is a link in the description below. It is how my wife and I were able to quit our jobs, um, and there's ample opportunity if you are, interested in getting going with it. I spend between 2 to 3 hours in our land business, and you know, that's kind of really it. Um, there's ways to basically get myself totally out of it, but I think that couple hours a week is just kind of where I feel comfortable. Um, so that's the land investing business. Take care. Hope that was helpful. If you like this channel or this video, subscribe, like it. I'd appreciate it. Take care. Have a good one.